Hey, Curtis.
Hey, Oz.
What do you got for us this week?
This week we have The Lord of the Rings meets Labyrinth crossed with Meet the Feebles. This week's movie, The Dark Crystal.
Meet the Feebles. Oh, wow. Oh, welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks. Oh, the podcast where we take a monthly theme and take turns bringing a movie to satisfy the theme. I'm one of your hosts, Oz.
And I'm Curtis.
And we are tackling episode 32, The Dark Crystal. This is June, which the theme, of course, this month is creepy movies for kids. Meet the Feebles is not one of those movies.
No,
for your kids.
It's not. I will say I had another movie marriage lined up.
I want to hear your other movie
in the hopper. It still starts with Lord of the Rings because this movie is a complete Lord of the Rings send up.
Oh yeah,
but Lord of the Rings meets the Muppets crossed with Furbies.
That would work. You know, you could throw Fraggle Rock in there.
Yes, I had Fraggle Rock as a possibility as well.
I even threw in. I obviously, you know, the Lord of the Rings is, I mean, right there in front of you. But I felt this movie had a very much a Zelda Breath of the Wild feel to it as well.
Sure, I could see that. Willow is another one I considered.
Yeah. Just a, you know, kind of just a journey. You know, you know, just any kind of journey film.
Yeah.
The noun journey, not the band journey.
Yes.
Don't want to confuse people. Steve Perry.
I was listening to Separate Ways on repeat as I was watching this movie.
Right. Although I will admit Separate Ways video with Jim Henson's Muppets would be pretty sweet.
Yes. Yeah. With the legs and the high heels walking across the pier. Right. And the air keyboard.
Yeah, I could see Meeker playing the air keyboard.
as the old guys in the theater box.
Yeah, I would love to see a Separate Ways done with Jim Henson's Muppets.
Love it.
So, all right, like we said, we've got Dark Crystal. Before we get there, I want to give a shout out to Don S, a Patreon subscriber. Thank you again, Don, for your monthly patronage. If you'd like to jump on board, you can find the link down below to support the show. And we've got some fun little throwaways, mention your name, some bonus episodes, etc. If you decide to support. And if not, we still love you checking us out. So thank you for that.
Me, not so much, but I'm glad that you have.
No. Your hatred for all things gratuitous is...
Yeah. Yeah, this is not a socialist outfit. I've
seen you yell at like restaurant servers for thanking you for, you know, you don't leave a tip and then they thank you anyway, and then you just yell at them like, no.
That's how capitalism works, folks.
I do not want support in any way, shape, or form. So Dark Crystal, let's get characters here. First of all, I think we should probably let the viewers at home, viewers and listeners know that if you are not familiar with the Dark Crystal, was it 82? 1982, Jim Henson, Frank Oz, dream project, really.
Yeah, 40 years ago as of the creation of this episode.
And so, you know, and it's all puppetry. Like, you see no humans in the movie at all.
Well, I will say I think you see some stunt performers.
You do
in some of the wide shots, but there are no
but they're still in costumed form. They're not, you know, there are no human beings in the cast. And so, speaking of the cast of characters, I'm going to do my best here.
You got the characters this week, guys.
There's a lot going on. We lead with our hero, I suppose you could say, Jen, who is a Gelfling. Jen is a male Gelfling, and on his journey, which you'll get to, he meets up another of our characters in their tag team here, Kira, who is a female Gelfling, and we know she's a female because she has wings.
Yeah, and because her hair is a lighter color.
That's true. They both, Jen especially, very much has that Matt Damon look to him of puppetry. And so, we've got these two. Another character we pick up along the way, and I thought she was going to be kind of a one-off. She shows up later, is Aughra.
Yeah.
A keeper of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the good guys. All right, so the Gelflings are the good guys. I can't think of the name. What did they call the group of the turtle people that
the
make
Mystics?
the journey?
Is it the Mystics?
The Mystics. There
Yes.
you go. Yeah. Yep. You're right.
I think
so
it's
the Mystics.
the Baseball Furies. That's the name of them.
Yeah. There are no humans though, so it's Baseball Furies in puppet form.
Yeah.
Which I would also watch the Warriors if it were cast with Jim Henson's puppets. And so, excuse me, the Mystics and the Gelflings make up the good guys. Anyway, we've got the Skeksis, the bad guys of the movie, and really the only individualized Skeksis that really pops out by name is Chamberlain, who kind of plays a kind of an anti-hero,
Sort of, with his own agenda.
Sort of, yeah. He definitely has his own agenda, but he's an interesting character. He's an interesting one. And then the last character I have down is just Fizzgig.
Why not?
Why not? He's just a friendly monster. He's just like a screaming hairy meatball. It's really, it's like the inspiration for Critters is pretty much what Fizzgig is. And that's it for characters. If there's any you want to add, anyway.
I was just saying, it kind of reminds me of the character from Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
Oh yeah,
I don't even remember what the character's name is.
Yeah, I don't either.
Meatwad or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like the talking meatball guy.
Yeah.
So that's Fizzgig with a haircut,
basically.
And that's really. I mean, did you have any other characters you want to add?
No.
Yeah. I mean, there's
the Skeksis and the Mystics and whatever. You really only need to know a couple of them.
Right. And really just Jen and Kira.
Yeah.
That's about the only two that you need to know.
Yeah.
So
and some bad guys.
Right. Skeksis. Yeah. Just by name. Bunch of turtle bird.
Yeah, it's like if a vulture fell into the ooze instead of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's a good explanation for it. So yeah, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Vultures.
There you go.
So that's all I've got for characters.
That's the characters.
Take us, Sir Curtis, on this journey through the plot of The Dark Crystal.
Yes, The Dark Crystal, Breath of the Wild.
Right.
So yeah, this week it's my movie. So I got the plot here. We start with a voiceover narration, just kind of a generic. The land was good until the crystal cracked. The Skeksis
the land turned sour.
Exactly. I was thinking that as well.
I was also.
You drove through the green place. What?
I almost put in my comment that the stilted racer things that they were on later in the movie, they reminded me of the person on stilts of the green place.
Yeah, there you go.
When it wasn't, of course, green anymore.
Yeah, that was.
They drove by at night.
Yeah, the Landstriders. They reminded those creatures. Yeah,
they reminded me of that from Fury Road. So
a lot of parallels.
Right. And before we get past it, happy birthday, Keith David. The day of recording right now,
yes.
June 5th, Keith David's birthday. So there you go. Happy birthday, KD.
There's nobody else I would rather voice an animated cat than Keith David.
Nope. Well, Bill Murray as Garfield did all right, but still.
Do you have any regrets? Oh, Garfield.
Right. It was the wrong Cohen.
Gotta really pay attention there. So we get introduced to the landscape, the cruel Skeksis, the gentle mystics. The Skeksis are in control. They're kind of gathered around this big crystal, which they kind of worship. The Skeksis emperor is dying. And so the rest of them, these vulture-like ooze creatures, are kind of vying to become the new emperor. We also then get introduced to the mystics, and their leader is also dying, because as it turns out, there's for every Skeksis, there's a parallel mystic. So if one is harmed, then its parallel partner is also harmed. So if one dies, then it's like partner also dies. Whatever.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, like a lot of things in this movie. Yeah,
Especially when the Emperor Skeksis dies and he like totally went like Ashy Larry on us.
Yeah,
just he get that guy some lotion because he just crumbled.
He did crumble apart. Yeah. We get introduced to Jen, our lead character, the Gelfling, supposedly the last of his kind, as he's been told. His family were killed by Skeksis. He was raised by the lead mystic, the wise mystic. Yeah. Then they have a moment, and then that leader dies, as does his parallel Emperor Skeksis. So the Skeksis are all about trying to claim that power vacuum, and Jen's just sad. But before the lead mystic dies, he tells Jen that you have a quest that you have to take on. You have to find Aughra because she has the shard and all the secrets.
I feel like every 80s movie had a quest.
Yeah.
like two-thirds of the movies had the word quest in the title.
Yeah.
You got Superman 4, Quest for Peace. You have the movie The Quest.
Yes.
I think Will Wheaton is in The Quest. Yeah, it just feels like there's the Quest for Red October.
Yeah.
Vision Quest with Matthew Modine.
I think there was
Die Hard 2, Quest Harder.
Yeah, there's Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Quest.
That's right. Quest of Khan.
The Breakfast Quest.
Yeah, so many. So the Garbage Pail movie Quest.
Yeah. Garbage Pail movie Quest.
Like just about all 80s movies had Quest in the title.
They almost all of them did. Yeah, there's our through line.
Except Cobra. Like Stallone's
Except Cobra. That was the only movie made in the 80s that did not have the movie Quest in the title.
I can't think of any others. And I'm a film fan, so if I can't think of one, there just isn't any. Comment down below if you could think of an 80s movie.
Any 80s movie that doesn't have the word Quest in the title. Yeah.
Yeah. We've yet to start that in our 32 episodes of like, comment down below what you think. Be sure to hit like, subscribe.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Freddy's
Quest Warriors.
Freddy's Quest.
Yeah.
They're all there.
We could keep going, but it's, we only have so much time here.
That's true. Bonus episode.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, if you Patreon for the $6 tier, you'll just get 10 minutes of us inserting the word Quest into every 80s movie, except Cobra.
That's right. Except because it doesn't fit.
Yeah, because it's just Cobra. We get a cool establishing shot of the Skeksis castle, which is clearly a miniature. Yeah. But I'm a huge fan of. Ironically, I'm a huge fan of miniatures.
Yeah.
And I know the Lord of the Rings made great use of miniatures as well, and this movie is basically Lord of the Rings, although made before the live action Lord of the Rings. So yeah,
true.
Cool establishing shots, cool miniature.
Now, by miniature in the Lord of the Rings, are you referring to the hobbits?
That's just cruel, Oz.
Right? They used a little Elijah Wood and a little Sean Astin for the movie. Those guys are honestly only 2'6". It's a lot of apple boxes in their movies.
You think Elijah Wood's like 5'4", but no, he's 2'6".
I don't think he is. I think he's 2'6". I've met him.
I have you now.
Yeah.
So we've got the prophecy is given to Jen that he's the chosen one, because we have a named chosen one in this movie. Oz wouldn't be a fantasy film without a chosen one.
Jen Damon.
The mystic says that when the three suns meet, the Skeksis will remain in power forever. So we got to find this crystal shard from Aughra and bring it to the Skeksis castle. That's basically the plot of the movie.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, the Mystic's leader dies, fades away. There's a duel between two Skeksis. I thought we were going to have something big here. I was a little disappointed with how this played out. The trial by stone, they called it. They each...
Right.
It was the Chamberlain and the General, two of the Skeksis.
Yeah.
They pick up these kind of cool, like, sword, spear-looking things.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, and you think that they're going to have this big, like, duel, and, like, one of them's going to end up, like, getting run through. No, they use these things to literally chip away at a stone.
Yeah. it had every intention to build up to like a Thunderdome sequence, and it and it didn't. It was like the opening scene, or like excavating in Jurassic Park.
Yeah. It's like if the Karate Kid culminated with like, how many ice blocks can you break?
Right. Yeah, that's the finals of the All Valley tournament.
Yeah. We got 4. Let's see 5. And roll credits.
The finals of the All Valley tournament turns into a chopstick fly catching contest.
Yeah. So that was a little underwhelmed by this.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So basically, the general beats the Chamberlain. Chamberlain's kind of mocking him, and the general just like, he just takes one big swing and cuts this stone to pieces. And they strip the Chamberlain of his robes and banish him from the Skeksis.
For what? For losing?
Yeah.
What a jerk.
I know. The Skeksis are jerks. They kind of established that early
They
on.
are. They're very lazy creatures as well.
Oh, yeah, they're very, like, gluttonous.
Yeah.
I was reading, I think, in the trivia that they were actually, even though there's like 9 or 10 of them, they're kind of fashioned after the 7 deadly sins.
I did read that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did, so like, and then they're, like you said, there were just like 2 extra.
Yeah.
They all had names too.
Yeah, if you look in like IMDb or Wikipedia, they're all there. It's not worth taking the time to mention here.
No, but, and even, saw in the trivia as well, like, if Jim Henson had full reign, if he had full reign over this, it would have almost been just like undecipherable. Like he had created languages, and like it would have just been so like over the top that it would have been like just impossible to follow. Yeah. And especially when you're still trying to wrap your brain around you're watching puppets. Like you almost feel like Game of Thrones could get away with it because they're all human actors, and but it's like, I don't know, like the mouths don't match up to the words anyway, so what does it matter, what you're putting on screen? But yeah, it's Henson had some ideas for this, and somebody talked him down. Yeah.
Probably for good reasons in that regard. Also similar to another movie with the 7 deadly sins, 7.
7, yeah.
No spoiler alert here. Kira's head ends up in a box at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Jen is voiced by Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. And controversially, Kira was voiced by Kevin Spacey.
Yeah. I saw that if you strip the audio from this movie and you lay the audio of 7 underneath it, they line up perfectly. Completely. It's like Dark Side of the Moon, Wizard of Oz
exactly.
thing.
You beat me to it. Yeah, they line up. I don't know how they happen to pull that off.
I don't know,
but it works. It's in total
magic.
Viewers, try it on your own. Just you
right.
on the third lion roar.
Right. Even though this is not an MGM production,
but just hear me out. On the third lion roar, you hit play on both.
Comment down below and let us know what you think of this works.
Quest Bueller's Day Off.
That's right. A fish called Quest.
Yeah, there you go. So the Skeksis, after they banish the Chamberlain and they strip him of his clothes, and kind of a creepy scene. They hear the crystal making noise, so they'll rush back into the crystal chamber, and the crystal apparently, again, like the Lord of the Rings, the seeing stones, you could see things through the crystal, and they see Jen because they thought they killed all the Gelflings. Because the prophecy says their prophecy says that a Gelfling will like kill them and finish off their kind, and so they see Jen, this surviving Gelfling, in the crystal, and they all panic. They send out the Garathim, which are like big beetles. Is that an apt description? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I have it later. Just big armored beetle soldiers. I thought they were so cool looking.
Yeah, they are. These giant like bipedal beetles that
they're really cool.
They sick on them. Also like the Nazgul in the Lord of the Rings, kind of. So they kind of like go out and do the hunting and the dirty work and all that. So
yeah.
Back to Jen, who started his quest, and he's walking along the landscape. Again, we get some wide shots of people in suits.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Jen's just kind of derping himself along.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not wrong. You get a lot of voice, like he's like voiceover narration.
Yeah.
He's kind of talking to
Yeah, a lot
himself,
of-
so they can get away with the mouth not moving.
right, a lot of internal monologue and,
Yeah. So he
and a
ends
lot
up,
of just a lot of wow, huh, whoa.
a lot of complex dialogue in this movie.
Well, and it's like, and for all of, like, I feel like the Gelflings had like the least amount of detail in them, like to where like it's, you have to add the internal monologue, because how do you make like this, how do you make it look excited or look worried? Like, I just felt they were very plain faced.
Yeah, I mean, they look like deer. It's kind of like
They
with
do,
with
yeah.
like bigger snouts,
Right,
like wider
I could
snouts.
See that, yeah.
Yeah, and deer are not known for their expressive emotions.
No.
That is not to say that the creatures didn't look cool.
Oh
But-
no, they were
yeah.
cool. Yeah,
But-
they're not like sock puppets.
Yeah, but again, you can only emote so much.
Yeah.
With these, when you do this kind of work.
Right, because they're puppets. They're not animatronics where you've got, where you've got like a Gizmo where you've got all these puppet masters controlling servos and things like that. It's
one or two people controlling each
these are
creature,
puppets. These are puppets.
Yeah. So Jen gets captured by Aughra, who is the person he was sent to find, because Aughra has the secrets and has the shard and keep it secret,
whole
keep
bag
it
of
safe. Yeah.
Whole bag of shards. Wonder how many crystals out there missing a shard.
Yeah. She holds up her own eyeball and then pops it back into her head, so removable eye.
Yeah.
I will say Aughra, voiced by Billy Whitelaw Oz of the Omen fame.
Exactly. Yeah. She was the demon nanny, right?
She, yeah,
The
crazy nanny.
one.
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
nanny. Not the hang herself nanny, but the me and the Dobermans will protect him at all costs
Yes.
nanny.
Yes. Not the it's all for you, Damien.
You're right. But the attack Gregory Peck,
Shrieking at the top of your lungs.
fight to the death.
Yes. Screwdriver to the neck.
Yeah. Listeners, I apologize for my stupid dogs going nuts. If you can hear them, it's part of the soundtrack.
It's the Garthim on a hunt right now.
Yep, it is.
So, Aughra and Jen talk for a while. He picks out the correct shard from her bag of shards, which is exactly how it sounds.
Right. Two
then-
of those were Supermans.
Exactly. Yeah.
From Superman 4, The Quest for Peace.
In case you didn't know that.
The best of all Superman movies.
Oh, by far the best of the Superman movies.
Can you name a better villain than Neutron Man?
I didn't even remember his name. I remember his mullet though. He had a sweet blonde mullet.
He did.
The
And John
Garth
Cryer.
That's right, John Cryer. The Garthim then attack Aughra's base. Jen escapes by jumping through a glass window.
Yeah, basically she's got this like planetarium thing going on, and he just bails on her. Our hero bails on the one person that he's been sought to find as all these beetle soldiers attack, and he just like, see ya.
Well, I'm out. So he makes his escape. The Garthim capture Aughra, and of all people, the Chamberlain is kind of waiting outside, and he watches all this happens. And what is the Chamberlain's response, Oz? I'm gonna cut to you for all of those. I think your Chamberlain noise is better than mine.
Like that's all he does.
Yeah,
He does have other speaking roles, but it's
that's really the only one that matters.
right.
The next day, Jen is walking through this like very colorful swamp, and comes across Kira, another Gelfling. He's not the only one.
No, not at all.
Kira and her pet Meatball, otherwise known as Fizzgig.
Fizzgig, the screaming monster. He had like two rows of teeth. Like he opens his mouth wide enough, he's got like double teeth. So
I don't know if I'd want to keep that as a pet.
No,
like
and you have to
shark
feed.
teeth. Yeah.
Well, and it's like my dogs are downstairs barking right now. Can you imagine if Fizzgig had to go out?
Oh yeah, it'd just be shrieking.
Right. And I don't know. How do you enjoy an animal like Fizzgig?
You don't. That's why you don't
You
adopt.
don't. Right. That's why you put him in a hole. That's where Kira keeps him.
Jen and Kira get each other's backstories by touching hands, and they dream fast.
Because this is Avatar.
Yeah. So they basically are able to kind of like read each other's thoughts. It's sort of like a telepathy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Whatever. Okay, cool. It's an easy way for them to get to know each other without more exposition.
Thankfully.
Yeah. We cut back to the Skeksis as their slaves prepare dinner for them. A lot of belching
kind of
and
yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a very pointless scene.
Yes.
But probably funny to a 6 or 7 year old watching the movie.
Because the 6 and 7 year old burping's funny, I suppose.
Right.
Even if it's vulture mutants doing it.
Creepy vulture mutants doing it. Yeah, it was just it was weird. And it was weird they were eating like pepperoni and bubblegum pizza. It was Dark Crystal was a foundation for all things fantastic after this point.
Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza was one of my other considerations for my.
That would have been a good one. Yeah, that would have been a good one.
So the Gartham drag a bag into the Skeksis, and they think it's Jen, but it's actually Agra. So they throw her in chains, and whatever, she's there. That scene basically just serves that. Yes, Agra's still alive, and she's there. Okay.
Yeah.
Jen and Kira are in a river singing. Jen's playing his like double flute.
Right. The Skeksis have set out like these bat creatures now.
The crystal bats, whatever.
Yeah, which like whatever.
Whatever they see, the Skeksis can see.
Right.
And they think they take one out, but it actually spotted them. Okay.
It's like the flying meatball in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, the big meatball.
With all the eyes.
Yeah. The Chamberlain shows up as well. Jen and Kira come across some ancient ruins or whatever that kind of have this writing, this ancient script on the wall, and they're trying to figure it out. And the Chamberlain's like, yeah, that's there because we tried to kill all the Gelflings because it's prophesized that a Gelfling will take us out if we don't take all of them out first. The Chamberlain is trying to be like, we need to show the Skeksis that like we're on the same side and we can live in harmony. And Kira calls BS on that right away. Like, nah, brah. So they run off. They leave the Chamberlain there. They get on the Landstriders, the aforementioned Landstriders, which are kind of look like that cave creature from the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back, the one that almost eats Luke. Just with like 4 poles for legs.
Right. You take that and marry it to the wheelies, like the wheelers from Return to Oz, and that's what you've got here. And coincidentally, this is the fastest part of the movie.
Yeah. So they get on these Landstriders, large creatures, part horse, part rabbit, part walrus, whatever.
Have we met the Podlings yet?
The Podlings. Yeah, I skipped over that.
That's okay.
Yeah. The short version. The Podlings are these teeny tiny creatures that took
Fraggles.
in Kira. Yeah, Fraggles.
They're
who took
Fraggles.
in Kira. Yeah.
And
who
also
took in Kira,
inspired. I think they also inspired Prince to write Raspberry Beret. Because they all had on some kind of like red headwear. But yeah, they're Fraggles.
They're all eating baguettes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're there, and
they probably got their
the Gartham coming.
Probably bought them at a secondhand store.
They gather up the let's see, the Gartham show up and they gather up all these whatever Podlings or whatever in a big sack.
Yeah.
And they set off for them. So back at the Skeksis lair, they're trying to take the living essence from these Podlings, which was kind of a creepy setup they had.
Yeah, really, like, about this part forward, continuing on, this is where it really kind of fits into our creepy movies for kids.
Yeah.
Because everything up to this point's been pretty, like, quest, prophecy, it's been fine. But there has, outside of just kind of the look of the Skeksis, nothing has been outwardly creepy or anything.
Yeah.
But really here is where things kind of start to go, get darker.
Yeah, so the Skeksis, they strap one of these tiny podling people to a chair, and they basically, like, they expose it to the crystal, which, like, distills one's soul down into liquid.
Yeah.
Which someone else drinks, and then is strengthened by your distilled life essence.
Yeah, it's not blood. It's just it's liquefied essence.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like
Powerade. I think it's Soul Glow.
Soul Glow. A lot of electrolytes in distilled essence.
That's what it is. Soul Glow.
Electrolytes, like what plants crave. Like from the toilet. I love that movie. Idiocracy is what we're referencing right now, folks. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor.
Oh yeah, and of course, Soul Glow comes from Coming to America,
which also predicted the downfall of human intelligence as well.
It did. I recently watched the sequel to Coming to America called Coming to America. It was fun. It was nostalgic at best. It wasn't a great movie, but it was Eddie Murphy having fun, and like everybody everybody from the original cast was back. And so that was playing all the same roles. So Eddie Murphy's got all these roles, and Arsenio's got all these roles. It was fun. Like I enjoyed it. I wouldn't mark it up to like great filmmaking by any means, but I was like, this was a lot of fun. Like, you hit every beat of what was fun about the original and just brought it all back.
You scratched all the right itches, and
then add Tracy Morgan and Leslie Jones on top of it, and they take it up a notch. So
add Tracy Morgan to anything, and it's going to be better.
I'll reach out and see if we can add Tracy to this podcast. Would you accept him as a third?
Begrudgingly, I would accept Tracy Morgan.
That would be fun. I'll reach out and see if I can get it to happen.
Yeah, get in touch with his people. We'll be right on that.
I'll just tweet him.
There you go.
Comment down below if you think Tracy Morgan would be a good addition to this.
Questing to America. So Jen and Kira arrive at the castle at the exact same time that the Garthim do.
Yeah.
Kira takes her Landstrider and like bowls into the Garthim. It at first kind of takes the upper hand, but that is turned very, very quickly in a scene that could have got graphic really fast as the Garthim descend on one of these Landstriders who was kind of toppled over. Here it turns out that Kira has wings. The Garthim are about to get Kira and Jen, and Kira grabs Jen and jumps off a cliff, and her wings emerge, and they float down below.
And he, how do you have wings?
Because I'm a girl. I'm a girl.
Right.
That's all the logic you're given there. Which I do appreciate the simplicity of that.
I do too. But it's also interesting to point out, like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Kira's never seen another Gelfling either. Like, she's also kind of like I mean, this is one of those kind of mixed prophecy things where Jen has been led to believe that he's the last of the Gelflings, and therefore the prophecy is about him, which just as easily could be about Kira. Because both of them thought they were the last of the Gelflings.
Yeah.
So I think she probably was taken from her Gelfling family a little later in life than he was, because she has more knowledge as to the differences between the Gelflings, and he seems to be pretty, ignorant to it. As he's being saved, like, well, instead of yelling or screaming, well, why do you have wings? Like, oh well.
They end up sneaking in through like some caves underneath the structure, kind of like Thunderdome in a way.
Yeah,
it's like the Thunderdome. They sneak in through the sewers. The Chamberlain is there. He's been tailing them the whole time. And yeah, exactly. And Jen stabs Chamberlain in the hand with the shard, so his hand is bleeding. So one of the mystic counterparts' hand starts bleeding because that's a thing.
Right.
Chamberlain knocks some rocks down on Jen and captures Kira. Brings Kira upstairs. At the sight of this Gelfling, the other Skeksis freak out.
Yeah, they do.
Like, kill her right now. Kill her. A Gelfling is prophesized to take us out. You kill her right now. However, the general, the new emperor, says at first we got to take her life essence. So there's always it kind of turns into like a Bond movie for a little bit here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got a monologue for a bit.
Yeah. Before we kill the hero, we have to strap them to a machine.
And get their soul glow.
Okay. So the scientist straps Kira to the same chair that the Podling was in, and they start that whole process. They expose her to the crystal. Yeah, there it comes.
There's the purple glow that's going to turn your soul into liquid.
Here comes the soul glow. Agra, who's in the same room as Kira, notices that she has the gift of speaking to animals.
It's Dr. Doolittle.
Exactly. How Agra knows this, I don't know. Intuition, one eyeball intuition, who knows?
It's women's intuition.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
you and I wouldn't understand.
No, that's why we don't understand. So they let they let all these other captured creatures who are in this room out. All these creatures attack the scientist, who falls down this gigantic shaft, a la the Emperor in Return of the Jedi, falling to his doom.
Yeah.
And as the scientist dies, another one of the mystics who are slowly moving towards the Skeksis castle just vanishes, because again, one can't die without its partner creature in the other race also dying.
Yeah, he just like you said, he just disappears, and the other mystics look at each other and just kind of go, oh.
Yeah, they do this like throat singing.
Yeah.
Which we'll get a little bit more of that, I think, later on. But
I hope so.
Yeah, I know. So Jen comes to, surrounded by Gartham. We get a cool shot, a really, really cool shot down in these caves as Jen's kind of coming to, and you see that these purple eyes just kind of pop up in the dark behind him, and then they kind of step out of the Gartham kind of step out of the shadow. So cool little shot there.
It was cool.
Jen escapes through a hole in the wall and ends up in the same pit that the scientist Skeksis guy fell into, and he climbs up. He ends up meeting Kira back up in the crystal chamber. So we're in basically the final scene here. So they're there. The three suns are converging.
Oh, it's close.
Jen's watching from the shadows. The Skeksis spot them. They call in the Garithim.
The sexy Skeksis.
The sexy Skeksis, yeah. So yeah, there's my Freudian slip right there, folks. I do find the Skeksis attractive.
Yeah, in kind of a vulture mutant kind of way.
Yes, if you're into vulture mutants, this movie's
so ugly they're cute.
So Jen escapes the Garithim by jumping directly onto the giant crystal, dropping the shard. Kira picks it up and throws it back to Jen as she is fatally stabbed.
Right, I won't say it came out of nowhere, but it kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
She
takes a knife to the back.
Like horror slasher movie-esque.
Yeah. As she's throwing the shard back to Jen, who then plunges it into the crystal just as the three suns converge together. The Garthim fall apart, which I think is kind of cool. So like as the shard is reunited into its whole, reunified, the Garthim just like crumble. They just fall apart, which is kind of cool to watch these giant beetle creatures just kind of like fall into themselves. The castle starts falling apart. The mystics have shown up. They gather around the crystal. They're filled with some white light, and they begin merging with their Skeksis counterparts. So that's why the mystics were on the move this whole time. So it turns out, as all along, that thousands of years ago, the mystics and the Skeksis were one creature. They were one species. And their arrogance in splitting the crystal in the past is what also split the species into two species. As a thank you, these creatures, the Skeksis mystic hybrids. They
Right.
revive Kira as she and Jen are part of each other. And they're now left with the Crystal of Truth, which also restores the land. And that our listeners, our loyal listeners, is 1982's The Dark Crystal.
That made complete
like
sense,
that.
right? Right, everybody?
Yes. Made just as much sense to me explaining it as the film was.
I feel like Jen must have felt that, like, prophecies come with detailed instructions, because there's a couple points in there where it's like, well, this wasn't laid out on the prophecy. Like, these things read like stereo instructions. Like, come on, buddy.
I got the abridged version.
Right. Who gave me the cliff notes of this prophecy?
So at this point, folks, Oz and I will give our own unique rating to the film we've been talking about, in this case 1982's The Dark Crystal. Oz, how would you rate The Dark Crystal?
I'd give this 6 sexy skeksis.
6 sexy skeksis.
Yeah. They're butter faces, but they're worth it.
A lot of personality.
Yeah, a lot of it.
A lot of
And
personality.
if it weren't for the power they had, but anyway, yeah, 6 sexy skeksis. How about you?
I'm going with 3 converging suns.
Ooh,
That's my rating. 3 converging suns.
Good one. Good one.
Thank you. So our next segment here, listeners and viewers, is Outside Insight, where Oz and I bring in a review we found from some external source, and we're just going to share it with you because it tickled our funny bone.
Yeah.
Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
All right, Jamie from Letterboxd gives this 5 stars, and her review is, Kira does all the work and my guy Jen is absolutely useless. LMAO, 10 out of 10. So this gets a double rating from Jamie. 5 stars and a 10 out of 10. It's kind of like when Michael Scott asked Pam to keep track of the rankings to see who was going to be the next regional manager. Well, you've given Jim a gold star, Dwight a thumbs up, and or whatever.
Yeah.
So Jamie, nice review. Jamie's a big fan of this one. So how about you? What's your outside insight?
Mine comes from Phil H. on IMDb. When this movie first came out in 1982, I was 13 years old and remember seeing it in the theater with friends. I loved it then and love it now. It remains one of the best fantasy films of all time, but only because of the sheer effort given to it by the Henson Company. Only he could have made all this work. His genius is timeless. If only he were still alive to make more films like this and better. Our world is a dimmer place without Jim Henson. 6 out of 10.
The best fantasy movie of all time.
One of the
gets
best
a
fantasy
6 out
movies of all time. 6 out of 10.
Oh, I was wondering. I was like, okay, and then I didn't see that 6 out of 10.
Neither did
I
I.
love it. I love how it's like one of the best fantasy movies of all time, only because they worked really hard.
Yeah. Apparently, maybe a 6.5 is as high as you could rate a fantasy movie.
6 out of 10.
According to Phil H.
Phil H.
One of the best fantasy films of all time. 6 out of 10.
Right. And Phil H. just doesn't like fantasy.
No, just not a fan. We close out this week with the 3-2-1, where Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 ha about the flick we've been chatting about, 1982's Frank Oz / Jim Henson collab, The Dark Crystal. Oz, what are your 3 goods?
First good. I love the look of those armored beetle soldiers.
Yes.
They were they looked different. Everything else obviously was puppeted and looked like a puppet. These guys looked like they had like a shellacked hard shell. Like they looked the part. They were really cool looking. So I didn't even try to spell nor pronounce their name. You've been saying it all along, and I still can't throw it out there. What are these things called?
The Garithim, I think.
Garithim. There we go.
Who
So,
knows
anyway.
if I'm pronouncing it right?
Right.
But
Anyway, the armored beetle soldiers are pretty cool. 2, like the South Park guys, Team America World Police, which also it's completely puppeted. This is a genre film before it's a puppet film.
oh yeah, definitely.
And so I think that's really cool of you, if you, as you're watching it, because they are telling a story. I feel like if you're watching the Muppet movies, you're watching a puppet movie with humans in it. This has a feel like this is a fantasy story. The storyline's kind of cool. It all lays out there pretty cool. You know, and the fact that they did it all with puppets is pretty amazing. But first and foremost, it's a genre film. Apparently, one of the best fantasy films ever made.
6 out of 10.
And so Team America was the same way. Team America was an action kind of Michael Bay blow 'em up blockbuster type of movie. Happened to be done with puppets. So I like that too, is that it didn't get trapped in its puppeteer visions. It was a genre film first.
I promise I will never die.
I'll never die. And then my third is just how nuts the 80s film industry was before costs really skyrocketed. You know, it's really cool. Like, I haven't done it, but, you know, I am interested in kind of looking at the whole, like just the growth and expansion of film from its early days through, you know, the double feature drive-in days, you know, and then the advent of the home video, et cetera, you know, and how all of these changing technologies impacted the way films are made. And the 80s was just nuts. Like, the costs of equipment were coming down. You know, film cameras weren't as expensive. Ideas were out there. You know, people were starting to have, you know, cameras at home. And so it really, you know, you really started to grow this not having to go to film school kind of feel. And the 80s film industry was just insane. Like, if you had an idea for a movie, we're making it. That's pretty much what it is. As long as that has Quest in the title, it's going to get made. And so that's my third good. It's just this film was not going to be made in the 2000s. This film was not going to be made in the 2010s.
Nope.
This film wouldn't have been made in the 90s. This film wouldn't have been, like, Team America almost didn't get made. And so, but I think a movie like this in the 80s, not a problem. You know, like, this had big money behind it. And I just feel like it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't the 80s. And so you and I both being, you know, growing up in that decade, big fan of 80s film, and there you go. So that's my three goods. How about you?
My three goods, I'll start off with the landscapes, the miniatures, the animation, all of those other things that kind of went into the production here outside of the puppets themselves and the characters. As I mentioned before, I'm a big fan of miniatures done right. I was actually, of all movies I was thinking about as I was watching this, it was another film we've talked about that had great use of miniatures, and that was Escape from New York.
Yeah, oh yeah. A lot of great miniatures there.
Miniatures done right, you know, really add a sense of physicality to a film, you know, where it's not animated, it's not CG, you know, there's a physical thing there, and there's, you know, you can always, as hard as animators try, you know, there's something to be said about a physical presence in a movie, and I thought they did really well with, again, some of those other ancillary set pieces. My second good would be the simplicity of the story. It's there's not a lot of exposition. It just kind of gets right to the point. You could argue that the simplicity could also be a bad, which, who knows, maybe that'll come up here in a moment. But it doesn't waste a lot of time. It doesn't linger on a lot of things. There's a couple scenes in the middle that drag a little bit. But overall, the simple storytelling, especially for this kind of genre film, I think is better suited. And my last good is the Chamberlain. The Chamberlain was just a really fun character.
He was fun.
Yeah, just with his stupid noises, and he clearly even annoyed the other Skeksis too, which I also found to be hysterical as well. And you know, clearly the villain trying to, you know, soften up the do-gooders with you know, talk of let's work together.
Yeah,
I know, just made for kind of a fun villain.
He was our Gollum Smeagol character in a way.
Yeah, just waiting for the right moment. So we get those are my three goods. Oz, what are your two bads?
The pacing is very slow, and I'm gonna chalk it up to just the effort to showcase the puppetry. I know I just said that this is a genre film before it's a puppet film, but still, when you're dealing with puppetry, I just think it's gonna take more time. I mean, you are physically controlling something that's moving as opposed to being the one that's moving. And so I do feel that really there are times a lot of the pacing was, I would say the movie drug on. Like it the runtime was fine. It wasn't like a 2-hour, 2.5-hour movie. And the story was, like you said, very simple, but it just, the pacing in a lot of the scenes was just minimized because you could only make a puppet move so fast. Yeah. And so that's really where it all came from. Like I said, and I really didn't feel that until they jumped on those like stilted running monster things. I'm like, ooh, like I almost feel like Henson himself was like, we got to speed this up, guys. So,
literally.
Right. So that's my first bad. It's just the pacing. I mean, it wasn't slow enough to like put you to sleep, but it was enough that it was, you got a vibe of like, if you played this movie with human actors instead, it would have felt, a little speedier. Yeah.
This wasn't Thunderdome slow.
No, this isn't Thunderdome slow by any means. So, my second is, the Skeksis are the big bads in the movie, but they were fairly harmless until like right at the end.
Yeah. When
they were going to murder Fizzgig, and he wasn't murdered, like just tossed him over the edge. Mm-hmm. Just the blatant like Brutus to Julius Caesar stabbing of Kira at the end, like. It's almost like, yes, they're brutal creatures, but they haven't been brutal. You just showed us this kind of a pointless scene not too long ago of them eating and burping all over the place. So, are they lazy, slobby, caricatures of evil, or are they this, we are going to rule at all costs kind of evil? And so just kind of that inability to pick a lane.
Pick a lane, bad guys.
With the Skeksis, it's like, I know you're making a kids movie, but you are making an 80s kids movie. And so which is it going to be? Are you going to have them be, oafish and dumb, or are they going to be menacing and violent? And so that was my second bad. It's just the instability of the Skeksis mission, I suppose.
Yeah.
How about you?
My first bad, I'm actually going to build off what you just said there and just go in a little more specificity, that there was a very unnecessary scene of the Skeksis just kind of feasting and gorging and burping and belching. And, again, the movie didn't drag too much, but this is one scene that it really did. It was completely unnecessary. The only plot point that came out of it was to establish that the Gartham had captured Aughra, which they could have done in 1/10 of the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like, okay, they're gross, they're gluttonous.
Okay, they already look gross. Like, you didn't have to showcase it by eating. Yeah. Like, they're already gross looking creatures.
Yeah, so just unnecessary, and you could have done that in a fraction of the time. Right. My other bad is Fizzgig. I've never been a fan of, and I'm sure I'll put my foot in my mouth in this at some point, but I'm typically not a fan of the character that's basically supposed to be a dog, just to kind of kid friendly something up. And that's what Fizzgig is. He's like the man's best friend kind of character here, the loyal.
What about Barf?
Well, he's a Mog. So
that's true.
I only half don't like him.
Yeah, that's true. He's his own best friend.
He's only half necessary, half unnecessary.
Right.
But again, just try to kid friendly up a little bit. Yeah. Oh, she has a pet that follows her around. Oh, it's cute. Oh, it has sharp teeth. Oh, that Fizzgig.
Oh, that Fizzgig.
Exactly. Unnecessary.
Would you put Ewoks in that category?
Sure. I think Ewoks are close enough to that.
I mean, obviously they're not like the pet variety, but they are there to cute things up.
Yeah. Again, movies are guilty of that. Books, comic books, cartoons. Yeah. You don't need it. You can be a kid's movie without having like the friendly dog just chasing everybody around. So,
right.
Sorry, Fizzgig, you didn't make my cut.
Yeah, sorry, Fizz.
What's your
what exactly did the Skeksis have control over? Like, they're in power, but we see this like long, elaborate journey, not only of Jen's, but the mystics as they're traipsing through the land. Like, we see Aughra and Kira, Those are the only two characters that were not established in one location or the other. They weren't with the Mystics. They weren't with the Skeksis. So what exactly are the Skeksis in control of? Like, we're not seeing any other civilizations. We're not seeing any industry. We just have a castle with the vulture grossness and the Mystics that, live on Tatooine or wherever. And so I don't know. I guess I don't understand. Like, they're in control and they will maintain that control when the three suns convert. Like, control over what?
Yeah.
The fauna? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. That was my It's like, what are we trying to be victors over? Like,
they weren't exactly demonstrating their winnings at any point.
No, and there wasn't any. I mean, like I said, we saw Jen traipse through all of this land, and we saw the Mystics traipse all across this land. What was there to be so proud to be in control of? It's like being the governor of West Virginia. Like, congratulations.
You have the Lesser Virginia.
Right. So, and if you're a listener in West Virginia, comment below and let us know how it feels
to be the Lesser Virginia.
Right. So, and that's my It's just I didn't understand what all the fuss was over. There wasn't much to control to begin with.
Let's see. My I got a couple here. I'll go with. I didn't know that when life essence was distilled, it turned into liquid, and that you could drink it.
It's urine.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I think so.
You're just draining the pee out of someone and then drinking that person's pee.
Or you pee your entire life and then you die.
Yeah.
So,
truer words have never been spoken, my friend.
It's science.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys have learned, don't ask your doctor because they're paid to tell you something.
Yeah.
We do this for free.
It's all a scam.
We're handing out the knowledge. You can't trust the American healthcare industry.
No.
Doctors are part of the American healthcare industry. So no, don't ask your doctor what urine really is. It is not the ability to pass through different salt and chemicals that our body longer needs. No, it's you have a finite amount of urine, and once you pee it all out, you die.
That's it. That's how life works, folks. And it's actually a plot by the Freemasons.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who know. They're the people behind the curtain, a la Wizard of Oz.
It's the Illuminati.
Yeah. Where do you think where do you think
and
our
by
pee
Illuminati,
goes?
Right.
When we flush it down the toilet, it goes to the Freemasons.
Yeah. And think about this. What is the largest beverage company in the world? Coca-Cola. Who owns Minute Maid lemonade? Where do you think lemonade comes from? It's our life essence.
Yeah.
Milk lemonade.
But the Freemasons take the good urine and they trick us with lemonade.
They're the Skeksis in this analogy.
Yeah.
So, facts, heard it here first. So,
yeah.
And if this is the last time you see us, even more proof that it's true.
Yeah. So the lesson here is drink as much urine as you can. And your life essence will be extended.
If you need a tutorial on how to do it safely, watch Kevin Costner's Waterworld. And you will learn everything you need to know.
Kevin Costner's documentary, Waterworld.
It's a futuristic documentary. Sent back from the future. It's what we look like if we don't protect ourselves.
Yeah.
Climate change. Illuminati.
We're supposed to have gills behind our ears. That's when you drink that much urine, you can breathe underwater.
Think about it. How much have all animals on Earth evolved over time, and how much have we evolved? When was the last time you evolved, Curtis?
It's been years. It's been years since I've evolved.
I never have. So, and you know what? When I look at pictures of my ancestors, they also look like humans. So, science and facts.
Drink
it's
as much.
Drink as quest for truth.
Drink all the pee you can. Yours, others. It'll keep you healthy, keep you vibrant.
Why do you think the man tells you don't eat yellow snow?
It's because he wants it for himself.
Trying to save that life essence. Eat yellow snow, people.
Yeah.
Eat yellow snow.
As much as you can.
And once you pee it all out, you're gone. So you got to keep, reduce, reuse, recycle.
Urine
Stop, drop, and roll.
Yep.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Oz,
truth and facts.
What do we got next week for our listeners and viewers, Oz?
Next week we have another documentary called Monster House.
I think PBS produced this one.
It's the truth. Yeah, it is. It's the truth of what happens when parents leave their kids home alone. Mm-hmm. So yeah, next week we are actually covering Monster House. It's a fun film about a monstrous house and Steve Buscemi. So
equally horrible.
And Maggie Gyllenhaal. They make voice cameos. So it is a fun movie. I saw this at a Entertainment Weekly sneak peek kind of thing back when I lived up, around the city. And I think you were unavailable at that time. Mm-hmm. I got 2 tickets, and I remember I think I offered it to you. You were busy, so I took Becca, and we went and saw Monster House in 3D a couple of weeks before it was released in theaters. And in 3D, it was actually pretty creepy. Because of my vision issues, I have glasses. Because of my vision issues, I can't really pick up on 3D. But for some reason, this one I could. And it was creepy. It's a good movie. My kids love it. My wife loves it. It'd be a nice family film. Monster House.
Monster House.
So that's what we have for everybody next week on week 3 of Creepy Kids and Movies Month. Mm-hmm. So we need you to do us a favor. We need you to like, subscribe, and comment. We need you to tell everybody. You need to leave a review. All that stuff you're supposed to do because you haven't been doing it. I don't know how often we need to tell you guys. If you're making it to this far in the show, which I don't know how many of you are, I think most of you listened to us for the movie Marriage, and then we introduced the movie, and you thought, I don't want to listen to that. And then you turn it off. But if you've made it this far, not only have you picked up some amazing scientific facts and truths about life, but we also need you to repay us by liking what we do. Comment, subscribe, all that stuff below. You can find us on social media, and you can find us on your favorite podcast apps, and you can watch us on YouTube. You can see how badly sunburned I am, and all that fun stuff. So The Dark Crystal. Like I told you pre-show, it was a fine movie. I think it became a first watch for me too late in life.
Yeah.
This was my first time viewing at 42 years old. I know, don't look a day over 41. But no, I think this would have been, really magical had I watched it as a youth.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Labyrinth. And I think this would have been a great double feature, but it came on too late in life. I absolutely have all the respect in the world for the amount of effort and expertise that went into making this movie. I'm not that target demographic at my age, but I do respect what the movie is.
Yeah,
and I think
I like the idea of the Dark Crystal better than I like the Dark Crystal.
Yeah. And so, with that, I think it's a fun movie, but like I told you earlier, not one that I'm probably going to find myself watching again unless I'm introducing it to my kids or something like that. It's not going to, whereas like Flash Gordon, I could watch that every week and be just fine with it. And it's far worse movie than this. But it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I love Sam Jones. So. And Max von Sydow.
All right, you want to take us out, Oz?
Oh, yeah. So, for Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we will see you guys next week. Take care.